a new topic of Sri Sarada Devi and her divine pay. The chapter's name is Ordeals in Kamarpukur. And if you want to really be with me and read along, then we are going to start from page 161 and read up till page 173. So, we all know that after the master passed away, mother was in great depression. And in the month of August, year 1887, she returned to Calcutta. By now, a year had passed away since Sri Ramakrishna had left his mortal frame. And Maharaj here writes, time has the power to heal many things. Holy Mother's grief subsided to a great extent during her year of pilgrimage and association with holy people. On 31st August 1887, she returned to Calcutta, where she stayed at Balram's house for 2 weeks before leaving for Kamarpukur. He further writes, Holy Mother's biographers have struggled to follow the chronology of her life after her pilgrimage because there are not sufficient records for the year 1887 to 1920. So what Maharaj has done is he has divided it into 3 parts. And today we are going to do the first part where she returns to Kamarpukur. Before leaving Balaram's house for Kamarpukur, Holy Mother visited Dakshineshwar. She bowed down to Mother Kali, Krishna and Shiva and prayed for their blessings. She also went to the Nahabat, her old dwelling place, and to the master's room. Sweet memories of the master arose, and she remembered his advice. Look, don't extend your hand to anyone for a penny. You will never lack ordinary food and plain clothing. If you ask for money from anyone, your head will be sold to that person. It is better to get food from someone than to live with that person. Some devotees may lovingly offer their homes for you to live in, but never give up your cottage in Kamarpukur. Stay in Kamarpukur, grow some spinach, eat that spinach with rice, and repeat Hari's name. So this is what the master had told her. In the middle of September 1887, Holy Mother left for Kamarpukur with Jogin and Golapma. They went by train to Bardhavan and then began to walk the remaining 30 miles because they could not afford to hire a bullock cart. They crossed 16 miles and reached Ujhalan. Holy Mother was exhausted and hungry. So they brought some rice and lentils from the roadside inn, and Golapma cooked khichdi for her. After eating, Mother exclaimed, Golap, what nectar you have prepared. They continued walking and finally reached Kamarpukur. Jogin stayed for 3 days and then joined his brother monks at the Boranagar Mutt. Golapma returned to Calcutta after spending a month with Holy Mother. Ramakrishna's family home in Kamarpukur faces south and consists of 3 thatched huts with mud floors and mud walls, plus another small thatched hut that was the family shrine. The shrine has since been replaced by a concrete structure. The hut on the east was the parlor. The middle one belonged to Rameshwar, who had passed away in 1873, and his family, and the hut on the west belonged to Ramakrishna. This hut has 1 door and 1 window. It is 12 by 10 inches by 8 into 10. So it is just 12 inches by 8 inches. So to the south, it is 12 feet by 8 feet, that small little room. To the south of the master's hut, there is a family shrine where Khudiram, Ramakrishna's father, installed the goddess Shitala, Raghuvir, Ramachandra, and Rameshwar Shiva. Holy Mother later mentioned that Mother Shitala was the original family deity in Kamarpukur and that her father-in-law had seen Mother Shitala in a vision, in the form of a little girl with a red sari sweeping away all evils with a broom, sprinkling water from the earthen pot with a mango twig, and giving peace to all beings. Khudiram used to offer khichdi to Raghuvir, Ramachandra occasionally, because Raghuvir belonged to the western part of India. Holy Mother took shelter in her husband's hut. Ramakrishna's surviving Ramakrishna's closest surviving relatives were his brother Rameshwar's children, Ramlal, Lakshmi, and Shivram. Ramlal was the main priest of the Kali temple in Dakshineshwar, and he and his brother Shivram spent most of their time there. Lakshmi stayed in Dakshineshwar with her brothers and did not go to Kamarpukur with Holy Mother. Lakshmi was outgoing and enjoyed singing and dancing to entertain devotees. But Holy Mother was shy and unassuming. At 34 years old, for the first time in her life, Holy Mother began to live alone. Holy Mother was supposed to receive a monthly pension of 7 rupees from Dakshineshwar temple authorities. But Ramlal and the temple cashier Dinu told Triloknath Vishwas, the owner, that Holy Mother was being taken care of by the master's devotees. As a result, Trilokya stopped her monthly pension. However, the master had left a small amount of money with Balram. Balram had invested this money and he gave the interest of 5 or 6 rupees to Holy Mother every month. The master's monastic disciples were themselves struggling to survive and were not aware of Holy Mother's difficult situation. In addition, her own mother and brothers were extremely poor and could not help her. Holy Mother had rice from the paddy field, one of which had been brought by Ramakrishna in the name of Raghubir, the family deity. She husked that paddy to make rice and grew some spinach and vegetables behind her hut. Sometimes she could not even afford to buy salt. Swami Chetanananda later remarked, "We never dreamt that Mother did not even have the means to buy salt. Whatever she cooked, she offered to Raghuvir and then ate the prasad." Generally, Orthodox Hindu widows eat one vegetarian meal a day and at night have a light meal of whatever is available, such as sweets, fruits, or milk. Holy Mother had only a few saris, which gradually became worn out. Sometimes she patched the cloth or else closed a hole by tying a knot in the fabric. Holy Mother followed Ramakrishna's advice and lived alone in Kamarpukur. Because she was so shy, she knew only a few neighbors. Prasannamai of the Laha family, a staunch devotee of the master, and Dani Kamarani, the master's godmother, became Holy Mother's guardians. Either Prasannamai's maidservant or Dani's sister, Shankari, stayed with Holy Mother at night, so that no one could gossip about her character. Dani's brother ran errands for her. Life was difficult for a young Hindu widow at that time. An Orthodox Hindu widow was obliged to follow ruthless social rules that forbade her from remarrying. She was supposed to live like a nun. She had to wear a white sari and shave her head. She could not wear any jewelry. She could not she could eat one vegetarian meal a day and was required to cook her food with sea salt or rock salt. She was also expected to serve everyone in her husband's joint family as if she were a maidservant. A widow was lucky if she had inherited some money or if she had children who could take care of her. Most of the villagers in Kamarpukur were not educated. In addition, they were conservative, narrow minded, superstitious, unkind, and unsympathetic. In the name of religion, the village leaders followed their traditional caste and social rules and rigorously imposed them on helpless widows. Some elders of the society even used young widows to fulfill their carnal desires. Truly, it was a curse to become a widow in Hindu society in that era. In Kamarpukur, Holy Mother's initial problems were financial, but she soon started to face social difficulties as well. As long as Golapma stayed with her, no village woman dared say anything about Holy Mother's lifestyle. But when Golapma left for Calcutta, some narrow minded conservative village women and men began criticizing Holy Mother. They complained that she did not behave as a Brahmin widow should. She did not shave her hair and she wore gold bracelets and red bordered sari. Holy Mother later said, when I left Vrindavan and went to Kamarpukur, the villagers began to gossip about me. I took off my bangles out of fear of public criticism. The master appeared before me and said, don't take off the bangles. Don't you know the Vaishnava Tantra? I replied, no, I don't know anything about the Vaishnava Tantra. He said, this afternoon, Gaurdasi, that is Gaurima, will come and tell you about it. Gaurdasi arrived that afternoon and I told her everything. She began to quote from the scriptures and explained to me, Mother, your husband is Chinmaya, pure consciousness. The Master is ever present, and you are the goddess Lakshmi. It will bring the world bad luck if you wear a widow's clothing and do not wear jewelry. According to the Vaishnava Tantra, a woman whose husband is Krishna is never a widow. I put my bangles back on. Holy Mother ignored the villagers' criticism and continued to wear her bangles and red bordered sari. The village woman went to Prasannamai, whom everyone respected for her piety and mature judgment, and asked her for her opinion of Holy Mother unorthodox conduct. Prasannamai, who had insight into Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, said, do not criticize either of them. They possess a divine nature. This silenced the villagers for a while. So we see Mother was also a revolutionary. She revolutionized the society at that time. She could stay them away and do what she wanted. Fortunately, Holy Mother's vision of the Master and his repeated reassurance sustained her and gave her glimpses of a future mission. Holy Mother later said, at that time, I was having visions of Master off and on that removed my fear. One day he said, make khichdi and feed me. Holy Mother understood that the Master and Raghuveer are the same. So she cooked khichdi and offered it to Raghuveer in the shrine while mentally feeding the Master. She described another vision. I was alone in Kamarpukur. One day I said to myself, I have no children. There is no one in this world to call my own. What will happen to me? Then the Master appeared to me and said, well, you think of children. I have left you so many of them, all jewels. In the course of time, you will hear many, many people addressing you as Mother. For many years, Holy Mother had lived in Dakshineshwar, a few yards away from the bank of the holy river Ganges. In Dakshineshwar, she had seen the scenic beauty of the Ganges day and night from the western verandas of the Nahabat heard the sweet murmur of the river, and breathed the unpolluted, fresh, and purifying air of Mother Ganges. She had bathed in the Ganges every day, drunk Ganges water, and cooked food with the water of the Ganges. Thus, she had established a strong relationship with Mother Ganges. While living in Kamarpukur, she felt nostalgic for the Ganges and she thought of traveling to Calcutta to bathe in the holy river. Around that time, she had a wonderful vision with her eyes open as she explained. I was very nostalgic for the Ganges all along. One day, I saw the master coming towards the house from the direction of Bhuti's canal. He was followed by Naren, Rakhal, Baburam, and many other devotees. Further, I saw that a stream of water sprinkling from his feet was flowing in front of him in waves. I realized that the Master was everything. The Ganges had sprung from his feet. I hurriedly picked up handfuls of hibiscus flowers from the tree next to Raghuveer temple and offered them again and again to that holy stream. Later, when Yoginma visited Kamarpukur, Holy Mother told her about the incident and took her to the place. She told Yoginma, the master was standing at the foot of this Ashatha tree. Then the master vanished into the body of Narendra. Eat a little dust from this holy spot and bow down. Holy Mother was the embodiment of patience and forbearance. She did not speak to anyone about her suffering, but the maid who stayed with her at night divulged her plight to some of the villagers. Shamsundari eventually learnt of her daughter's pitiful condition and she sent her second son, Kali Kumar, to Kamarpukur to bring Holy Mother to Jairambati. But Holy Mother refused to go. She knew that her mother's financial situation was difficult. Moreover, she was trying to follow the master's wishes and remain in Kamarpukur. It was probably during the Jagadhatri worship in the fall of 1887 that Holy Mother visited Jairambati for 3 or 4 days. Shamasundari burst into tears when she saw her daughter wearing a torn sari. After the worship, she insisted that Holy Mother stay with her in Jairambati. Holy Mother declined, saying, I am now going back to Kamarpukur. We shall see what the Lord ordains for me. Although Ramakrishna's nephews and niece lived in Dakshineshwar, they occasionally visited Kamarpukur, especially during the harvest season, so that they could get their share of the crop. At this point, Holy Mother was part of the joint family, and Ramlal, as the head of the family, was obligated to take care of her. Lakshmi mostly lived in Dakshineshwar and she moved around with her disciples. When she visited Kamarpukur, she would entertain the villagers through her singing, kirtan, and dancing. The bashful mother felt very uncomfortable in such situation. Shivram was a simple, gentle, and an unassertive person. He was fond of Holy Mother, who was a sort of godmother to him, and he maintained a good relationship with her. However, he had no power to make decisions about family matters. Ramlal was indifferent and even a little hostile to Holy Mother. He considered her a burden. Once Holy Mother went to see her mother in Jairambati. During her absence, Ramlal came to Kamarpukur and made drastic changes in the affairs of the family. He partitioned the family home and made arrangements for the worship of the family deity. He left the master's cottage to Holy Mother and gave the master's portion of rice crop to her. Then Ramlal and her siblings abruptly left for Dakshineshwar. Previously, it was a joint family, but without consulting with Holy Mother, Ramlal took an unilateral action. Holy Mother was terribly hurt. She felt alone and helpless. Her husband's relatives had deserted her. She saw the ugly, selfish, cruel, unsympathetic, and ungrateful side of human nature. Ramlal had forgotten that he had been hired as a priest in Dakshineshwar Kali temple because of Ramakrishna. It is painful for a mother to see her daughter in adverse circumstances. Shama Sundari had to do something. She knew that the master had devotees in Calcutta who could help her daughter. So she contacted the eldest son, Prasanna Kumar, who was earning his livelihood in Calcutta as a priest. He went to Dakshineshwar and remonstrated with Ramlal for abandoning his aunt. He also visited Golapma and told her that his sister was living in Kamarpukur in such poverty that she wore torn clothing and had no salt for her food. Golapma took the matter seriously and immediately informed Yoginma, who was her neighbor. That afternoon, Golapma, Yoginma, Krishna Bhavini, that is Balaramji's wife, met to discuss how to rescue Holy Mother from that terrible situation. Balram informed the master's monastic disciples at Baranagar. They were very upset but helpless to assist her as they were then living on alms. Golapma then told Girish Ghosh, Kalipada Ghosh, Dr. Shashi Bhushan Ghosh, and M about Holy Mother's situation. Everyone agreed to help and bring Holy Mother to Calcutta. On 5th March 1888, M went to Kamarpukur and arranged for Holy Mother's needs according to his means. In the early part of 1888, Krishna Bhavini went to Antpur to visit her mother, who was a wealthy woman. Both women were very devoted to the Master and the Holy Mother. As the distance between Antpur and Kamarpukur is only a few miles, they went to Kamarpukur with a Brahmin girl and a trusted man to pay a surprise visit to Holy Mother. She was delighted to see them. As the wife of a wealthy man, Krishna Bhavini was able to give sufficient money to Holy Mother for food and other necessities. After staying 3 days in Kamarpukur, they went with Holy Mother to Jairam Bati, where they stayed for another 3 days. Holy Mother could not hide her condition from the eyes of the Master's loving devotees. After returning to Calcutta, Krishna Bhavini and her mother reported their observations to other women devotees. They all decided to bring Holy Mother to Calcutta. The Master's disciples wrote to Holy Mother asking her to come to Calcutta. It was painful for the devotees to hear that Holy Mother was enduring poverty, loneliness, caste rules, and criticism. In a small village, public opinion is more powerful than providence. Society is bound by social rules and norms. If an individual's way of life is not approved of by the society's leaders, that person becomes an outcast. In Kamarpukur, the Laha family was wealthy and influential, and Prasannamai belonged to that family. When the village woman learnt that the young disciples of the Master had invited Holy Mother to live in Calcutta, some remarked, "How can she live with those young men?" Others said, "It is all right for her to move to Calcutta. Those boys are her disciples." Holy Mother wanted to know Prasannamai's opinion. So she asked the maidservant who stayed with her at night to speak to Prasannamai on her behalf. Prasannamai told the maid, "Godai, that is Ramakrishna's disciples, are the children of his wife. If they are eager to serve their mother in Calcutta, she should go." But some women of the village disapproved of this arrangement. The maid replied. Prasannamai responded, "What do they know about Gadai's wife? She is their mother. She must go. I will face those women." After the maid told Holy Mother of Prasannamai's opinion, mother went to see her. Prasannamai told her, "Why are you hesitating? Of course you must go to Calcutta. Gadai's disciples are your own children. Do not listen to the village gossip. Surely you should go." Holy Mother then went to Jairambati to get another opinion. The villagers of Jairambati had already heard that Holy Mother was moving to Calcutta. Holy Mother told her mother, "The disciples of the Master want me to go to Calcutta. They will make all the arrangements as soon as they get my consent. Now I have come to Jairambati for your opinion. Should I go or not?" Shyama Sundari said, "I am an ordinary woman. Let me consult with other villagers." Holy Mother's brother, Prasanna Kumar, had told the villagers how some wealthy woman in Calcutta loved and respected his sister and served her as they would their mother. The villagers of Jairambati loved Holy Mother, so they did not create any problems for her. Moreover, they thought that Holy Mother's wealthy devotees might help to improve their village. They approved of the move, and in May 1888, Holy Mother went to stay in Balaram's house in Calcutta for a short time. She then moved to Belur, where the devotees had rented a house for her. Holy Mother's time in Kamarpukur. It is extremely difficult to ascertain how long Holy Mother stayed in Kamarpukur, given that she travelled frequently. According to M's diary, the biography by Swami Gambhirananda, Holy Mother lived in Kamarpukur from September 1887 to May 1888, and then from February 1889 to February 1890. While in Kamarpukur, from time to time she visited Jairambati. Between May 1888 and February 1889, she went to Calcutta, Belur, and Puri. The following incidents probably took place in Kamarpukur between February 1889 and February 1890. Harish, a devotee of Ramakrishna, had stayed with Master at Dakshineshwar from time to time. His wife was greatly disturbed by his indifference to the family, so she gave him a strong drug to divert his mind to the worldly life. This affected his brain. During this period, Harish arrived at Kamarpukur in a deranged state of mind and began to act abnormally. Holy Mother was worried, so she wrote to the young disciples at the Boranagar Mutt. But before they could take any action, Harish lost control of himself. Holy Mother later describes that incident. Once Harish came to Kamarpukur and stayed for some days. One day, as I entered the compound of her home, after visiting a neighbor, Harish began to chase me. He was then insane. His wife had brought about this condition on him. There was no one in our house, no place to escape. In a helpless state, I began to walk fast around our granary. He persuaded me, kept on moving behind me. After going around 7 times, I stopped. I assumed my real form, laid him on the ground, placed my knees on his chest, and then held his tongue and began slapping him hard. He began to grasp for breath. My fingers became red. As soon as Swami Niranjanananda and Shardananda received Holy Mother's message, they rushed to Kamarpukur to protect her. She told them to take Harish to Calcutta. Harish knew that Niranjanananda was very strong and would not tolerate any kind of misbehavior. When he saw Niranjanananda, he was so frightened that he left for Vrindavan without causing any further trouble. By God's grace, he later recovered from his mental illness. Holy Mother's financial condition improved during 1889 and 1890. The Master's women devotees and a couple of men devotees in Calcutta raised some money and began to support her. It was a common practice in villages for men to go to the market. Generally, high caste women did not go. Holy Mother could not hire a maid servant to buy groceries for her and do other errands. The rice that she received from her share of the master's family estate was more than sufficient for her needs, so she donated the surplus to the poor. She would cook some extra food during lunch to save for her maid, who ate in the afternoon. No guest or beggar left Holy Mother's door without receiving something. During the annual fall festival of Mother Shitala, Holy Mother cooked food to offer to the deity and served the prasad to the Brahmins in the family and the village. During this period, a monk from Orissa came to Kamarpukur. Prasannamai was a very pious woman and she arranged for him to stay in a cottage near her home. Holy Mother and other villagers were very fond of that monk and took care of his needs. However, some undisciplined and rowdy young men in the village did not like him and tried to force him to leave. When the monk decided to leave, Holy Mother and some villagers came forward to help him. At Holy Mother's request, the villagers began building a cottage for the monk at the southwest corner of Haldarpukur. It was the beginning of the rainy season and the thick clouds were about to pour. Holy Mother frequently prayed to the Master, Master, please save the situation. Let this monk's thatched hut be completed and then it can rain as much as you like. By God's grace, the hut was completed and the monk moved in. Despite her strained circumstances, Holy Mother provided food for the monk and inquired about his condition. Unfortunately, that monk died there after a short time. The Master's wish fulfilled. We are stricken with grief when we think of Holy Mother's ordeal in Kamarpukur, which lasted nearly a year. She did not want anyone to know about her suffering. If the Master's devotees had known of it, they would have handled the situation immediately. Despite her hardships, Holy Mother struggled to follow Master's advice to live alone in Kamarpukur. But there must have been a special reason behind this divine plan. The scriptures say that the desires of illumined souls always come true. It seems that the Master had fulfilled his one unfinished wish through her. Swami Chetanananda wrote, at the threshold of his youth, a kind of fancy arose in the Master's mind, prompted by the influence of his inner feminine nature. Because they were born as women, the gopis of Vrindavan attained Satchitananda, Krishna, that is, Krishna through love. This led him to think that if he was born as a woman, he could worship and attain Krishna like the gopis. Thus, viewing the male body as an obstacle to attain Krishna, he imagined that if he were to be born again, he would be a beautiful young widow with long hair, born in a Brahmin family, knowing none other than Krishna as her husband. These would be provisions for plain food. There would be provisions for plain food and clothing and a small plot of land next to her hut where she would grow a few kinds of vegetables. There would be an elderly woman with her who served her as a guardian, a cow that would give her milk, and a spinning wheel. His boyish imagination went further. After finishing the household work for the day, she would sing songs about Krishna while spinning the cotton. Then in the evening, she would make sweets from the milk of that cow and cry piteously to feed the sweet to Krishna with her own hands. Pleased, Krishna would suddenly appear as a cowherd boy and eat them. Thus, he would visit daily without anyone knowing. Holy Mother spent her time in Kamarpukur in much the same manner. She grew spinach and vegetables, cooked them with rice, offered them to Raghuveer, and partook of that prasad. She spent the remainder of her time chanting the Lord's name. Blessed Kamarpukur. Later, Holy Mother talked about leaving Kamarpukur. At Kamarpukur, I missed the master very much. It was painful experience. That is why I did not stay there. When I moved to Kamarpukur after the master passed away, the master's relatives were indifferent and villagers tried to humiliate me. When my mother heard about it, she brought me to Jairambati. Since then, I have been living with my brothers amidst their happiness and misery. Now those relatives say that I don't look after them. How strange is human nature. Although Holy Mother did not remain in Kamarpukur, she kept an eye on her husband's cottage and paid for its maintenance. Today, nearly 200 years later, that thatched hut is still in excellent conditions, bearing the memory of Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. Later, Holy Mother reminded her devotees of the importance and sanctity of that cottage and asked them to stay there when they visited Kamarpukur. She also gave financial help to Ramlala when he added an upper floor to his cottage. She was always concerned about continuing the worship service of the family deity Raghuveer and bore her share of the expenses. In 1950, a beautiful temple was erected on the spot where Ramakrishna was born, and the Ramakrishna order has preserved that precious mud hut where the master and the mother lived. Now, innumerable people from all over the world visit this holy site, the birthplace of an avatar, the Bengal Bethlehem. So, on that note, do visit Kamarpukur and Jairambati if you haven't. It's a lovely place. Both the places are very well maintained by the Maharajas of Ramakrishna Mission. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Do stay tuned to Devakshar, like and share our videos, and comment on whatever you are listening to. And do subscribe to our channel if you already haven't. Thank you so much for being with us. Namaskar.